Welcome. In this video, we are unboxing Old School Tactical Volume 3, set in the Pacific Theater of World War II during the years 1941 to 1945. Old School Tactical was designed by Shane Logan, and he also did all of the art and he laid out the rules. Old School Tactical is a two-player squad-level game. This edition of Old School Tactical Volume 3 adds in a lot of really cool new features, including the Japanese bonsai attack, the American flamethrower tank, the M4 Zippo, the firepower and discipline of the U.S. Marines, the Hago Japanese tank and Japanese zappers, and a lot more. In addition, they include a lot of new terrain, such as caves, kunai, palm trees, and jungles. In addition to unboxing, I'm going to go into a little bit of detail of how to play the Old School Tactical series for those of you who aren't familiar, and also some differences between this volume and the other volumes of Old School Tactical. You can pick up your copy of Old School Tactical Volume 3 in the Flying Pig Games store, which I'm going to link below in the description. Thanks for watching. In the box, you're going to get 3 sheets of counters that are 2 millimeters thick, a 30 by 41 inch mounted map, 2-player aid cards, 16 scenarios, unit data cards, which I'll go into more depth about pretty soon, a rule book and a playbook. I'll also go into more depth about the difference between those two, 6 D6 dice, and a massive box to put it all in. Let's start this unboxing with the core rulebook and then also the playbook. There are 2 different books in here. The core rulebook is full color, 22 pages. It contains a really helpful index in the back. Like I said, it was laid out and designed by Shane Logan, and he also did all the art. Really impressive. The cool thing about this is that these are the version 5.6 rules. If you are interested in following along or browsing as you're listening to this video, the rules are available to look at digitally on our website. I will link that in the description below. So this rulebook contains the rules for the Old School Tactical series. So if you're familiar with volumes 1 or 2, then you will already understand this. A helpful thing that Shane does, and many people do, is that he changes the font color to indicate different things. So for example, any of the font that is in the burnt orange color is going to be an example of play. Anything in the blue color is going to be a change or a new rule. There aren't any blue in this version because what he does is he takes all of the rules and the new terrain and units and explanation of the things for Old School Tactical Volume 3 and puts them in the playbook, which is really helpful. So these are your core rules for Old School Tactical, and then here is the playbook that is going to be specific to Old School Tactical Volume 3. So the playbook is going to contain all of the rules, the new rules for Volume 3, 16 scenarios and explanations of the new fortifications, terrain, units, and just all the new rules that are specific to Volume 3 of Old School Tactical. One of the biggest differences in Old School Tactical Volume 3 versus the others is that they introduced the Japanese, obviously, and the Japanese have no gut check number. And I love this. I think it is so thematic and so specific to the Japanese culture in general, but definitely during World War II, which was death before dishonor. So the Japanese cannot be shaken or broken. They only take casualties. So it just makes them even harder to defeat. Another feature that Shane adds into Volume 3 is the bonsai attack for the Japanese player. The bonsai attack can only be used once per scenario. And what you do is you use one of your leaders to activate all the units within its command range. You can use other leaders that are within range and kind of link them up and activate more units that way. And on the individual level, it is essentially a movement action merged with an assault move. Other new units include the tank killers, which were Japanese soldiers that were loaded with explosives and willing to sacrifice their life to destroy American tanks. Canister rounds are included for American tanks, the M3 Stuart, and then also the 37 millimeter M3 gun. There are star shells, and there are also napalm airstrikes, which are pretty nasty stuff. The 16 scenarios also included in the playbook are set in different famous locations in the Pacific Theater, such as Guadalcanal and Henderson Fields. The game also comes with 2 player aid cards, as you can see here. There's the Pacific terrain on the back, and on the front we have infantry combat table and then also the vehicle combat table. Old School Tactical Volume 3 also comes with 3 sheets of super thick die cut counters. I'll show some more close-up shots, but they come with the bonsai attack markers, which are just a really cool counter. Some of the new different fortifications that can be added in, all the different units that you would expect, including some of the new ones. Another new feature I like for Old School Tactical Volume 3 are the caves. I'm going to hold up these counters. This is a new type of terrain, but you're actually going to modify the board by putting this counter on top of the different hexes and create caves. Also in the game, you're going to get a deck of cards. A portion of the deck are going to be the luck cards. These are drawn at the beginning of a scenario. You typically draw 1 unless the scenario calls for a different amount. And these are just cards that you have up your sleeve that your opponent has no idea what you have. It could be anything. Here's an example. Born Lucky. Disregard any single attack on one of your units. Play after enemy rolls attack and gets effect. May be used for a vehicle. Another portion of the deck, you have the Japanese unit cards, and then you also have the American. These are really helpful, especially once you get into vehicle combat. You have all these for the Japanese. Here are the Americans. I love this. I think it speeds up gameplay. You can have all your units in front of you on your side of the board. That's what I do. I like to line it up and look at them. That way you're not referring back to the rules book, or you're not holding the counters and like squinting and trying to see some of the numbers, as happens with a lot of war games. I think that this is a great tool that speeds up gameplay. You get 4 D6, which I misspoke earlier in the video. I said 6, so I will make a correction on that. You get 4. And then you get one of the best parts of Old School Tactical series, the huge map with the gorgeous art. The maps in Old School Tactical are famous because they are just gorgeous. Shane does such a good job. They're gigantic. They're so big that many of the scenarios will only use a portion of the map. So we do have some borders for sale in the store that you can use to portion off certain parts of the map. The map is also great because you have the different terrain across the top and some terrain information. You are able to track your impulse points. Which is really the heartbeat of this game. Impulse points are really fun. For those of you who don't play Old School Tactical, you will roll 2d6 typically at the beginning of a turn in a scenario. There are different things that scenarios might call for where you will automatically get a certain number depending on which side you are. You roll 2d6, and that number is the number of impulse points you have per turn. Essentially, this is your currency you use to spend to do an action during that impulse. And the impulses are going to alternate between players typically. You also on the map are going to be able to track your casualty points and your victory points. Thanks again for watching this unboxing for the Old School Tactical Volume 3 game. If you like the Old School Tactical series, for sale in the store now, we have the first volume, which is the Eastern Front, second edition, for sale. We have Volume 2, which is the Western Front. And then very soon, we're going to have Volume 4. We just finished the Pledge Manager for that. It just closed. And it's going to be shipping in July. So pretty soon we'll have Volume 4, which is the Italian theater. Thank you for those of you who backed that Kickstarter. Your support really does mean the world to us. In addition to the games, we have a lot of cool extras that you can get, such as the border strips, extra luck cards, dice, or player mats, which really make your gaming experience even better. Thanks again for your support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you can. It really helps us out.